everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the first half of November and the new moon that we have coming up in Scorpio on the 4th. Just before I get to that, a couple of housekeeping items. The person who is impersonating me with my name and photograph is still operational on Facebook. I will post again the fake page and my two official pages below this video so you'll know which is which. Thanks to the amazing efforts of all of my followers, they have not only announced to the people on that page that this is fake, but they've sent in hundreds of reports to Facebook. So I think that group has significantly diminished. However, on YouTube, there's now, and I know this is happening to many people, it's not just me, it's quite broad scale at the moment, but on YouTube, again, using my name and photograph, there's somebody asking people to contact them on WhatsApp. Now, firstly, I don't have WhatsApp. I'm not on WhatsApp. Secondly, I will never ask anyone to contact me. I'm already very busy. And thirdly, I'm not offering any client consultations at all. And I've got a notice on my website saying that. So anyone doing that, asking you to contact them, pretending to be me or offering client consultations, it's not me. So I just really want to make sure people don't lose any money. Okay, so let's get into the astrology of November now. We are into eclipse season because we have the lunar eclipse in Taurus on the 19th of November and then a very powerful total solar eclipse in December, which I'm going to be talking about in subsequent videos. But whenever we're into eclipse season, the energy always feels more intense. I'm going to be using that word a lot. I'm really sorry, but it is going to be intense. And we're going to see a lot of very rapid, fast-moving changes over these coming months. Eclipse season is very interesting because eclipses are often like pivot points. They're like jumps of endings and beginnings. They're not linear or gradual. So you often find that your life jumps forward in some way, whether from an ending or a beginning at eclipse season. And so as we're into that energy already, be aware of that, but they can be quite transformational. Also, the veil tends to thin at times of the eclipses, so we are able to access high-level information more easily. That's one of the upsides, one of the big upsides of eclipses. We're entering Scorpio season now. As we enter the month, the Sun and Mars are already in Scorpio. Mars entered on the 30th of October. Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, is extremely comfortable there and is absolutely on a mission. Mars is laser focused in Scorpio. So for anybody who has natally Mars in Scorpio, you will know what I'm talking about. Extremely determined, fixed, absolutely unstoppable. So that's why we have a lot of, well, many reasons that I'm going to be covering. We have a very, very strong energy here. Now, Scorpio is the sign, it's the most intense of the water signs, that word again, most intense of the water signs. It's very connected to secrets as well, deep, dark secrets. So we're going to be hearing a lot about secrets and a lot about truths as we go into November and December. We start the month also with Mercury in an exact T-square to, it's at 24 of Libra, exact T-square to Pluto at 24 of Capricorn and Eris at 24 of Aries. So this has happened 3 times. Mercury was conjunct Eris, square Pluto, in mid-April. Again in late July, it was in Cancer, forming a T-square opposing Pluto, squaring Eris. And now again, as it's moving forwards in its motion, we have it in this exact T-square from Libra. So voices are going to be heard around possibly legalities, Libra, around issues of fairness, justice, equality. And because it's in T-square to Eris, it's going to be voicing some of those concerns about people who are not being included in society, not being heard, on the periphery, marginalized. And so those voices are going to get really quite loud. In fact, I think they're going to get increasingly loud as we go through the year, because now with Saturn moving direct, we're moving more tightly into that third and final square between Saturn and Uranus. that happens on Christmas Eve, 24th of December. And I've got a whole video on Saturn square Uranus. I'll try and remember to put the link below. But top line, it's about the old versus the new, about control versus freedom, and about the past versus the future. And I think we can clearly see those themes playing out. And so let's get into this new moon in Scorpio, which happens on the 4th. Now, because it's in Scorpio, as I say, Scorpio is very concerned with secrets. It's often to do with secrets of the rich and powerful. It's often to do with a lot of wealth. But this new moon, of course, is going to be, for other reasons too, which I'll share with you, is going to be really shining a light on those secrets. So what I'm going to do now is hopefully share my screen with you. So you can see this. Now, this is set 4th of November. So they're coming pretty much exact at 12:16. This is based on UK time. Our hour has changed at the end of October. And so you will have to calculate your own location if you want to look at this. So again, I want to emphasize, ignore the clock face of this chart, ignore the angles, because they are only applicable for anybody living on UK time. So, and many of you will understand that. But for those of you in the UK and on UK timeline, you'll see that Pluto here is close to the angle, close to the descendant. And that really says something to me about the increased control, potentially, of the people. And that's echoed in other themes as well. So let us get into the detail of this. Firstly, it's a new moon. Perfect time to set a new intention for wherever this falls in your life, 12 degrees of Scorpio. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can download a free birth chart from my website. And if you go to the link in the description below this video, you'll find a link to take to my store. You can buy a 2-part tutorial video series that will explain how to find all these points in your chart that I will talk about with every update I ever do. And it will give a lot more meaning to you and your life. So this is really full of tense aspects, hard aspects. We only really have one trine in here, which I'll be talking about. So the first big aspect I want to point out is the sun and moon, always conjunct at a new moon, are opposing Uranus very tightly. You'll see that Uranus is at 12:47, literally 6-7 minutes away from an exact opposition to the sun and moon. Wow. So it is very likely around the time of the new moon that we are going to see some shocks, some surprises, some sudden unexpected events happening. And they can take many forms. I mean, Uranus will always surprise us. They can take many forms because Uranus is in Taurus. That rules banking, currencies, the economy. It also is connected to the earth because Taurus is a fixed earth sign, so this may be to do with earthquakes and volcanoes. We've been seeing a lot of those recently. Maybe political or financial earthquakes as well. It could be extreme weather. And Uranus is also the planet of rebellion and revolution. So I think certainly going into November, December, we are going to see a lot more social unrest, and that's coming from various things. It's also, of course, Uranus, the planet of awakening. And I think a lot of people are going to be really seeing things they hadn't seen before. Because if we consider that Scorpio is the sign of secrets, Uranus is like the piercing sword of truth. It just adds absolutely piercing clarity to something. And because this aspect is so tight, this opposition, we should expect to see some truths, some secrets revealed, let us say. The other way this can work, and we're already seeing it, is Taurus is also connected to our agriculture, our food supply systems as well. And we're seeing in many countries short staffing because employees are deciding to take a different course of action and they're leaving their jobs. And whether it's as in the UK, we've had a shortage of tanker drivers, and therefore petrol can't get to the pumps. And if petrol doesn't get to the pumps, then that means distribution to supermarkets is going to be more limited and dislocated. All of this, in fact, literally just the symbolism of Uranus in Taurus is about disruptions and dislocations in our food supply systems and in our agriculture. That can be also caused by extreme weather, of course, of droughts or floods or earthquakes or whatever. So all of those are likely themes at this time, and indeed ongoing, because in January, the nodes enter, the North Node enters Taurus and the South Node enters Scorpio. They will stay in Taurus Scorpio for another 18 months, so until mid-2023. So all of the themes I've just talked about with Taurus and Scorpio will continue through that period. Now, Taurus is often connected with our safety, our feelings of safety and security, our survival issues, if you like. And so food is obviously a big one there. And I've been saying for many months just to just quietly plan as if you're planning for a severe winter, and get some stocks and stores in, and then you will feel much more peaceful. You'll feel much more peaceful to know that you've got stores at home, and you can kind of weather any hiccups and difficulties that are going to come about. The other way I think this could work as well is Taurus is about bringing us back to the simplest, if you like, the simple things of life. It's about our values, and undeniably our values have changed enormously in the last 21 months. But I think they may simplify even more, so that we get to love the simple. We really become focused on things like growing our own food, even if it's in a very limited way of growing microgreens inside the house or whatever. If you don't have a garden, I think that will become a greater focus and a greater value for us as we move through these months ahead. So, as I say, Scorpio very much about secrets. It's also about wealth, and wealth very much in terms of big wealth, rich and powerful wealth, investments. Scorpio is coming to the fore with the Pandora Papers coming out, that kind of thing. It's also about loans and mortgages. So again, we could see some turbulence because of the opposition to Uranus, sudden shocks and surprises around stock markets, wealth, that kind of thing, but also secrets around wealth coming to light as well, as I say. Now, Mars is also in Scorpio. As I say, it is conjunct in an out-of-sign conjunction to Mercury, and that can make for some angry words here, some angry words at this time. And again, they could be linked to the Libra issues, fairness, equality, justice, as I've talked about, because Mercury is still, although it's moved on a little, it's still in this T-square to Pluto in Capricorn, and Eris over here, 24 of Aries. Also, what is interesting here, Mars is very widely conjunct the new moon. We call the sun and moon together the new moon. So if you take the midpoint of Mars and the new moon, it's at 7 degrees of Scorpio. So 7 degrees of Scorpio is exactly square to 7 degrees of Aquarius, where Saturn sits. And that midpoint is also opposing Uranus, because Saturn is, as I say, starting to get closer to its exact square with Uranus on the 24th of December. So initially then, at this new moon, with Mars, it's like the accelerator. Got to act, got to do. It's very, particularly in Scorpio as well, it's very urgent, got to do something. However, Saturn acts like the brake. So it's like trying to create action, but just running into a wall. And the wall here is likely to be Saturn, government, rules and regulations, things we can't do, etc. So there's quite a lot of frustration here. Mars-Saturn combinations could even be militaristic at times as well. So there is this frustration. But what is very interesting is that as the days tick by, Mars moves gradually through Scorpio, and by the 17th of November, it is exactly opposing Uranus at 12 of Scorpio Taurus. This will be an explosive day, and not just that day, the 17th, few days to either side. This is much more the signature of earthquakes and eruptions, and it's explosive, combative, that kind of feeling. It will not be suppressed. So there's going to be an interesting progression between Mars feeling a bit blocked at this new moon on the 4th, but by progressively through the month, by the time we get to the 17th, this is a hot combination as Mars becomes exactly opposite to Uranus. So this is like a pressure cooker. There's so many hard aspects and squares in here. It's like a pressure cooker. So that's a very interesting aspect at this new moon. And obviously, we have this long-term square that I've talked so much about in the last 2 years between Pluto, 24 of Capricorn, and Eris at 24 of Aries. This square will actually continue really until Pluto exits Capricorn, goes into Aquarius fully in 2024. And it's still exact to the degree now, and it will still be very strong through next year. So it's similar in its themes to Saturn and Uranus. It's this idea of individuality, freedom, the future breaking loose, running up against control. Very clear themes, governmental control, rules and regulations, etc. So the other thing I think is noteworthy as well is remember that these hard aspects between Eris and Pluto are incredibly rare because Eris has virtually a 560-year orbit. And so it's extremely rare for them to come into square. And I think I mentioned in the last video when the last time that happened, but I know it happened in the 1700s as well, and with similar themes that we are seeing now. So just know that this is a paradigm shift. This is a shift of the ages. And so we have to go through some demolition, through some really messy stuff to get us through to the other side. And what is positive here actually is Mercury at 28 of Libra is in a positive trine to Jupiter, close on 23 of Aquarius. These are both air signs, so they're social. And this is about having big future vision, big ideas about future ways that society can be organized, Aquarius, future ways that will allow us freedom, allow our human rights to be respected, and futuristic social organization is how I see that. So that will be happening at the same time as the demolition, as it were. Now, what's also interesting here is that Venus is on the galactic center. Venus is at 29 of Sagittarius. The galactic center is at 27 of Sagittarius. And whenever a planet aligns with the galactic center, the center of our galaxy, it almost kind of opens a window to that very high level energy with which we create. It opens us up to higher level information. So it's a very powerful place for Venus to be. And interestingly, also, she is conjunct this dwarf planet I've mentioned before, Ixion, the lawless brother of Pluto. Now, Ixion at this new moon is 4 minutes away from entering Capricorn. It's at 29:56 minutes. And on the 12th of November, Ixion enters Capricorn. And it lasted that in February, March 2020, last year, and there was quite a lot of turbulence on stock markets because Venus is linked to currencies, wealth in general. We are likely to see more of that because of all these, all this turbulence around finance, etc. And Venus also moves into Capricorn, right on 0 of Capricorn on the 5th, the day after this new moon. So they are both really at the world axis. World axis is 0 degrees of the cardinal sign, so 0 of Capricorn is the world axis. And when planets come to the world axis, things tend to happen on a big public stage. It's obvious. We can't avoid it. So that's another very, very powerful aspect that is happening here as well. I think looking a little further into the month as well, we see that the moon enters Aries on the 14th of the month, and by the 16th, the moon has come to conjunct Aries. So Aries is the warrior, the sign of the warrior. The moon is the people, and it has come to highlight this Eris-Pluto square. And it is also very much about the people feeling warrior-like, if you like, or angry. So this is going to be a very eventful month, I feel, a great deal happening in these coming months. So whatever your level of knowledge and understanding about what you think is unfolding in the world, I think all of us are going to be rocked. All of us are going to be rocked as we go through these coming months. So don't be surprised if that happens. So really try to cut off from getting involved in negative emotions with the 3D drama, because there's going to be a lot of drama, even more than we have seen so far. So try to pull back from that, stay on your eagle's perch, make your focus your inner mastery. Focus every day on your breath work, focus every day on your meditation, focus every day on dropping into the baby belly breath. Let the breath breathe you like a baby does. Within minutes, you can have shifted everything, really, your feeling of peace, your feeling of calm, your biomarkers, and that in itself is starting to generate a very different reality from what we're seeing as the rubber hits the road at 3D. And that's what we have to do. And the more of us that can do that and find our peace amidst all of this, because it will be chaotic, you know, with businesses being short-staffed and many organizations being short-staffed, it will be chaotic at that not so-called normal 3D level we've known all of our lives. Just expect that. You know, as we go through it, if things are getting a little crazy, you can say, well, the astrology is anticipating that, because we have to break down to break through. And it isn't just me. Many astrologers, of course, are seeing the same thing, but also sensitive people, very spiritual people, channelers are all seeing this same picture. So just know it's going to happen. Yes, it's messy. Yes, it's loud. Yes, it's chaotic. And this too shall pass. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If you'd like more information about my books, my teaching videos, etc., just check out my website, pamgregory.com. I'm hoping the Redesign website will be up by the next video. Let's hope so. But either way, it's pamgregory.com. If it's moving slowly, it will be the old one, but the other one is coming down the track. Bless you. Thanks so much for listening. Have a wonderful new moon in Scorpio. Bye for now.